Okay, today we will start talking about the material system in THEA Studio. This is the Material Lab button on this column right here. The Material Lab in THEA consists of three main panels. That's the Preview panel. Here you can see previews of the materials that you create or change or use in scenes. The Layers panel. Uh, Here you can create and modify your materials, change the way they interact. And the Properties panel. Here you can change the values of your material properties. The Preview panel we'll discuss separately and the other two together. The Preview panel basically shows how your materials look and reflects any changes you make to it. You can see 8 icons here, and we'll discuss them one by one. The clear button just basically clears any materials you have selected and creates an empty one. This is useful if you want to start creating a material from scratch. Here you see when I press the clear button, it just creates a black empty material. And then you just create a basic one or any type of material from scratch, and it will show the different type of material. The revert button reverts any changes you have made to your material since you opened it. Note that when you clear a button, you cannot revert past that. The open and saved buttons, these are for opening THEA material files and saving them to your library. The options button shows you the options for the room preview. Here you can increase the quality of the rendering of your previews. The default quality in THEA is set to 20, but I think that's a little too low for me and is not enough in many cases to show clearly how the material will look like. It will not show the material clearly, and I recommend increasing this from 30 to 35 in order to get a cleaner look of your previews. The threads checkbox is the amount of threads or cores you want your system to use in rendering the preview window. If you have a quad-core processor with hyper-threading, you get an 8 threads. You can also enable higher resolution previews for your materials. As you can see, I have done just that here. I'll just uncheck that. You see how the standard preview looks like. I personally prefer high resolution previews because they're bigger and you can better see any changes you make to your materials or finer details you change. Note that this will increase the render time of your previews because it basically renders a bigger image. When your auto refresh is enabled, every time you make a change to your material, it will automatically be reflected in the preview window. So if you change the color of my material here, it automatically changes it in the preview window. And if I disable it, when I change my color, I just do not have an update on the preview. Then I have to manually click refresh in order to get the preview on my current change. So I'll enable it. Uh, and finally, auto clipping. When it is enabled, if you import a texture with an alpha channel active, it will automatically show the clipping here. The room button lets you change the different types of scenes for better representation of your materials. You can change the different room previews so you can better see how materials look like in the environment you intend to use them in. Here you have AMS, that stands for Advanced Material Simulation. This is the THEA model used to represent more complex materials. Note that each time you change the room previews, you have to manually click refresh in order to change the room. So IMS IBL, this used for better preview image-based lighting. IMS SSS used to better preview subsurface scattering materials. Cloth for cloth based materials, based soft materials. The direct room preview for more basic type of materials. The floor room for different types of flats, horizontal surfaces. EES for lighting purposes. EES is for the industrial values the lighting manufacturer gives, so you get a pretty accurate representation of how a certain light will light up. The translucent room for translucent materials, so you can see how light passes through the material. The unbiased room using the unbiased engine to show more accurate representation of the material. Note that it will take longer to render. And the wall room preview for different type of vertical flat surfaces. And of course, the stop buttons will stop any rendering going on in the preview window. So for next time we're going to talk about the layers in properties panel of the material app. So see you next time.